Yeah, so hi everyone. I just thought that I'd give a video about ESL because I haven't for a while. Um, I've got the fish tank just there and the water's a little bit low on it, so there's the sound of trickling water. Sounds like I live in a really splendid place with a fountain or something, but I won't turn it off. I'll let the fish enjoy their tank. So ESL news in China, getting close to Christmas 2021. This time of year is traditionally not a time of year when people are going to be getting hired, and it's coming up to the end of the semester, and it's coming up to the end of the university semester and the international school semester and so on. But traditionally people will be coming in February, or they'll be coming in January in the winter, and coming in the summer. That in between period between the semester finishing and the semester beginning again. What jobs are being advertised at the moment? So it reminds me of South Korea in a way. Like, in a sense, I think like the new laws have really just changed the market so that it's become almost overnight a more mature market. So it's become a market like South Korea where there's a lot of kindergarten work, there's a lot of private school work, there's university work, but there aren't a lot of these centers that traditionally were the places where English teachers were able to find the most jobs. So that's arguably happened. And when I'm going around these new developments, having a look now, I'm seeing that there just aren't the schools around that used to be around. And when you're seeing like cranes and stuff, almost every time I go out, I see a crane taking down a sign, or I see what was a school becoming a restaurant or becoming something else. So there's no denying that the laws have had a pretty big impact. And also I'm often hearing about, oh, such and such is leaving, such and such is going back to their country, such and such. Hearing about people that I kind of know that are going back to their countries because there isn't as much work available as there used to be. Now, what about bright spots? Like, I'm always optimistic and I always try to be optimistic. So what are the bright spots? Definitely online is a bright spot. So there's a lot of online schools that are still operating, and there are several companies that are also having teachers in public schools. So you have to be in China to do this work, but if you are in China, that is certainly a bright spot. Like, there is dependable work through companies that are working with government, schools, all around the country, not just in some regions, but it seems like in all regions there's this work available in public schools, working with public schools, not just primary schools, but high schools as well, and even like senior years, like I guess not the very senior years, like in Australia we would call year 12 or year 11, because those students are really getting ready for their exams. But 7, 8, 9, 10, yeah, I mean, there's work in those grades, and there's work in primary school, delivering these online classes. What's it like? You know, I mean, that's another video. I can make another video about that. But it's government work, and these companies are getting paid. They're getting paid consistently, so the teachers can be assured that they'll be paid consistently. There are also a lot of other companies around as well. So there's a company called Hohai English that a couple of my friends are working at, and I might do some part-time work with them. So they've got like a very creative kind of way of teaching. They're using National Geographic material, and there's a few companies like that. It's not the only one. So online is definitely a bright spot, 100%. Now, what jobs are we seeing advertised on WeChat and on Dave's ESL Cafe and stuff like that. We're seeing a lot of kindergarten work. We're seeing still a lot of international school work. There's still a lot of international school work available. Salaries, as far as I can tell, like the real salary is what the teacher signs. And when you look at a job advertisement, you don't see that. You just see a number that's designed to get some attention. So I don't know what contracts, what the numbers are on people's contracts, obviously, because I'm not a clairvoyant and I don't have access to that information. I don't have thousands and thousands of people that trust me that tell me this information. But the numbers on the advertisements are definitely pretty steady. Like, I feel like sometimes it's just silly because they have these ranges like between 20,000 and 35,000 after tax. Well, you can assume that it would be closer to 20,000 than 35,000 unless you're a really amazing guy or amazing girl with a great resume, with a great work history from a famous university or something like that, that's going to really pull in students for that school. So yeah, there's a lot of kindergarten work. There's a huge amount of kindergarten jobs advertised. So if you're a kindergarten teacher or you've got experience with that age group, those jobs are very, very, very much available. There's kindergarten work everywhere. I've got a couple of friends who've worked in kindergartens, and I think especially for people who are parents, it's no big deal because they're used to dealing with their own kids, and it's interesting to them how kids develop and stuff like that. For other people, it can seem like, not very fulfilling because the kids, they're not really, like, you can't really talk to them very well, and it's just like not a great environment. Maybe that's how some people feel about it. That's how I might feel about it, I guess. But yeah. So there's a lot of work in those early years schools. There's not a whole lot of advertising for university positions, but that's always been the case. It's always been kind of those positions aren't traditionally advertised. They're sort of like a little bit word of mouth. But if you go onto Dave's ESL Cafe, agencies are definitely advertising those positions quite a lot. So, and in the next month and a half, next 2 months, they'll become much more publicly advertised, I think. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. So online, summing up, if you've watched this part of the video this far, thank you very much. Summing up, online is a bright spot. A lot of early years work. Centres, training centres, I haven't seen any advertisements for the training centres that are still available, like, goodness me, Metten. I haven't seen any advertisements for these schools, but they might be still hiring, but I just haven't seen the advertisements. And like I said, it just feels like what's happened to the Korean market. Now, obviously, I'm not an expert. I'm just one little guy. I'm just one little English teacher working in China at a university. And if you have any information about what's happening, and China's such a big country as well, so I can't sit here in Tianjin and just know what's happening in other cities. Like, I have no idea what's happening in other cities. So if you see something else different happening, or you've experienced something different, please leave a comment, because the idea of this is not to get people to look at me or listen to my music or something like that. The idea is like to have a kind of, I guess, a community where information about ESL can be shared, and that could be a special thing, like me sharing my music or me sharing my ideas just as a common person. It's not really that unique of a thing. Like, it's not going to go anywhere, but what could go somewhere, and what I'm excited about, is that people hopefully start to share information, and I can be a node of it, and we can start, learning more and more, because the more knowledge you have, the better off you are. And yeah, I'm very, very excited. Every time I get a comment that's teaching me something, I just feel like, yeah, I'm glad that I established the channel, because that's just bringing me information, like first-hand information. And yeah, that's what I hope people do. So please don't be afraid to leave a comment. I'm pretty much addicted to hearting every comment and replying to every comment. So leave a comment and let me know what's happening in your part of the country. And yeah, hope everyone's well, and Merry Christmas.